Starting off bad. Hello. Welcome to, I guess, what is the first episode of PillowTalk with Collin Pillow. This has been an idea for a while. I mean, like Pillow Talk sounds great. I'm Pillow, so I like talking. So there we go. It's been thought of as I thought it'd be cool to be like a DJ, I'll be on the radio, but these days everyone's making a podcast. Anyone can do it. I literally am. There we go. I'm talking with a mic. Boom. So episode 1, I guess we should talk about me. That's something I feel like I have a good, maybe not a good grasp on, but if anyone should talk on the subject, I think I'm more or less qualified. Happy New Year. Today is January 7th, Friday, January 7th. This is what would have been the first Friday of the quarter, and my first Friday in school after a long while. I took the fall quarter off, and I'm a music student at Central Washington University. It's a pretty good place to learn music. That's another conversation, I guess. There's a lot to that, but it's good and bad. Mostly good. Anyway, here we are. I figured I should give a year in review of last year. This is, a week late for the whole New Year's video thing. But yeah, last year was, I would say, the worst of my life so far. So far. Cue that Homer Simpson meme. But yeah, it's, we're on the up and up here, I hope. So 1 year ago from right now, early January, I had spent Christmas and then the New Year's with family in Texas, and it was nice. I got to see my grandmother and my grandpa's new plot of land, my Nina and Pawpaw, as I call them. They got a spot out in the middle of nowhere in Texas. That's the dream. A big old homestead, big old farm. It's in a very small place called in Buckhorn, Texas, which is literally it's a crossing of roads. It's not it just says, it's a blue sign. It says Buckhorn. Gorgeous place, beautiful. It's really nice to see. I remember being there with a lot of the family, and most of us are musicians. Starting with my Pawpaw, my grandpa. He's been playing music since, I don't know, since he was a kid. Forever he's been playing. I was playing music with the family in Texas. I was sitting at the keyboard and just kind of noodling, just coming up with stuff. Some of it was practicing my my newly found jazz skills, because I had taken one jazz keyboard class, basically, doing these 2-5-1s. Playing those, and playing this other thing, these chords that I came up with, that my dad just kind of fell in love with. I remember I was just playing around and he was like, "Whoa, Collin, that is the coolest thing I've ever heard." And it's just this progression here. So it was really just that, and then noodling from there, I guess. But those two things, that song especially, I guess, became pretty important one to me. I guess I'll talk more about that later. Yeah, I made a New Year's resolution. I was trying to write a poem or um, a song every day, no matter what it was. Poem didn't even mean anything strict. It was just write something down every day, get thoughts down. Basically functioning as a journal that rhymes most of the time. But that was good. I didn't hold to it all year. There were definitely times that I missed. And in the beginning of the year, I would retroactively do them. I would do like, all right, I'm going to write 3 today because I forgot to for the past 2 days. And that worked out for a while. It did. It's a good exercise. It helps me with what I think is one of the biggest problems that I have creatively, which is like just like your ideas. if you like it, just have confidence in the idea and pursue it. And if it's not great, it's not great, and whatever. But it helped me to just like write something down, just have something, rather than I can sit here with a pencil and paper and just like stare at it forever and erase and be like, no, that wasn't right. But it was kind of a no wrong answers thing for a bit, and that's good. So in February, March-ish, late February, early March, we lost my great grandmother, my Mama Pillow. Mama was to a point where the hospital wouldn't help her if any more complications were to arise. She was 90. That's understandable. But shortly after she passed, my Pawpaw Pillow, my great grandfather, he had gone to the hospital with COVID, and he was certainly struggling. He had just lost his partner of 70 years, and he ended up passing away of COVID, with COVID. And I guess there's no way of knowing, but I've always kind of suspected that that was what took my great grandmother's life, and but again, she was to a point where it didn't matter. But yeah, so there we go. Then I'm on my second trip to Texas of the year for their funeral. When I got back, I got vaccinated. On what was it? March. Let me look. On March 19th of last year. So it's March. I'm back from Texas. I'm in school. I'm working full time. I am preparing for my voice recital, which was May 22nd. That was basically it's the culmination of school. So at the time, that was my 4 years of being there. Right now, I'm a fifth year student. So, yeah, I was just working hard in school and at work, and everything was fine. Things were going good. And then in like late April, there was a lot of rain. This caused an issue at my house at the time. There was flooding in the bathroom and like through the walls. I lived in the basement of this house. There was like 2 bedrooms downstairs, 2 bedrooms upstairs. And yeah, so I remember I have I have written down May 3rd was the day that we like put in the request to maintenance. We're like, hey, we've got some leaking going on in the bathroom. On the 6th, I was at work, and I get off work, check my phone, and there's a bunch of texts from my roommates saying the house was flooding. The place was flooding. I get home and I find that my wonderful roommates have moved everything in my room, have like gotten everything out of the closet, have like moved everything away from where this big growing puddle was, which was amazing. I mean, I have instruments. It would have taken a serious toll on those. Yeah, yeah, that would have been bad. They moved everything. They gave us a hotel to sleep in. They were paying for a room for me and my roommate. So the two roommates that lived upstairs, they were fine. They were not displaced. The flooding didn't get to them, but it was just us downstairs. And so we were given this hotel that we can go sleep in, and I decided I didn't want to do that. I luckily have a van that I can camp in kind of whenever I want, and I just didn't want to be living in a hotel at the time, and so I was sleeping in the van but hanging out in the house, using the washer and dryer in the house, taking showers in the house. And so they had booked that originally 7th to the 20th. So not even 2 weeks of time, 13 days. On the 19th, they came and looked on the 19th, they came and looked at the downstairs. I don't know what was going on between that. Like, it took 2 weeks to figure things out. They had deemed that it would be a 4-week fix. That would put us back in the house, estimated around June 19th. So we're basically told on the 19th, on May 19th, that we would have to vacate the downstairs and empty it. And the property management group, or the landlord or whatever, we had a storage unit that was paid for us that we could put our things in. And luckily they also halved the rent so that we weren't paying, the two of us downstairs that were displaced were not paying for the house at that time. And yeah, this was difficult. I put a lot of this stuff in that storage unit, of course, but I like pretty much my entire wardrobe was in my van. Again, I was sleeping in the van this whole time. It sucked. Oh yeah, keep in mind, this is all happening in May. May 22nd was my voice recital, my culminating performance of 4 years of work. That I woke up sweaty in the back of my van that morning, got dressed and warmed up in my van, like not practicing music at that point, but just doing it all, doing what I could. Man, but that continued for a while, sleeping in the van, because they eventually told us, after that 4 weeks was up, somewhere around there, they said, okay, you're also not going to be able to renew your lease at the end of July. So this is now mid-June. They're saying, hey, in a month and a half, you got to be out of here. And we're not fixing the house for now. Like, it's just going to be the way that it is. And you guys are just going to have to deal with that. So that sucked. I was living in my van, parking at the house. And then let me make sure I get my timeline good here. So July, I spent working full-time. Keep in mind, I'm still working 40 hours a week. And I was taking one online class this summer that I failed because, well, hold on, not making excuses, okay? It's because of me. But there was like there was a test that was due at 7. And I got off work at like 8:30 or 9 or something. And this is a weekend. Failed the test because I couldn't take the test. And, yeah, but, was told like, oh, it's unfair to all the other students if you, and like, okay, yes, sure, yeah, it's unfair, except for when it's an online class that's like largely asynchronous. Like, I whatever, doesn't matter, whatever. So yeah, I failed that class. So July 14th, that was when keep in mind, I've been looking at places this whole time. I've been trying to get in contact with just different landlords around town, like trying to get a house, trying to get a place, preferably a house, because I have, drums, guitars, all that I would like to not have neighbors with. I do now. They're upstairs. We got a situation like that, but it's not an apartment. It's a house. It's different. So as of July 15th, we found a place. It's this one. And they said, okay, but we aren't available till September 1st. So I'm like, okay, another month of living in my van. And this time it's not, it's not camping outside your house, like sleeping in the van. I was like, okay, it's time to, I'm actually going to be sleeping in the van. I got to figure out where to park, which is not hard. If anyone's ever done any sort of road tripping, van camping, you can pretty much park wherever you want. You will, like, I'm just saying, never been messed with. Yeah, especially in central Washington, where you can just go wherever you want. It's like super wide open place. So I was camping down by the river, in a van down by the river, smoking a doobie. So near the end of July, I found out that my dad, my Nina and Pawpaw, my grandmother and my grandfather, had gotten COVID. This is difficult because I'm vaccinated. Been wearing masks, been making good decisions. And it really sucks to see where those decisions could have helped somebody else. But people are in charge of themselves. Can't make someone do something. Yeah, so they are all in the hospital. And eventually, my grandpa was put on intubation. He was intubated, which, if you don't know, is pretty much like a last-ditch effort. That's last resort. There's a very low chance of things getting better at that point. It's not unheard of. There are stories where people have come out. That is not every case. It was nice not having to sleep in my van, but the first trip to Texas was when my dad got out of the hospital, and shortly after my grandmother did as well. But we were all staying in the one house. I was taking care of both of them, not doing everything for them, but doing what I could and just being with my family. It's very good to be with your family. And we were all just we were all in a pretty stressful state, pretty stressed out state. Every day calling the calling the hospital for information on my grandpa, and trying to decipher what we could, seeing, oh, it seems like things are getting better. It seems like he's fighting harder today, or just trying to read numbers. And it's interesting because when you're on those conversations, on those phone calls with the nurses, some are really good at giving you information, telling you what to think, and some are maybe not so good at that. By good, I don't just mean that they are hopeful and telling you what you want to hear, but there's a difference in the ability to translate, numbers coming off of a person's machine and just telling a family what they want to hear. But I never got to see him, and I guess I should add, when my dad was there, I was sending him music that I had recorded every once in a while, or just like hey, here's a clip of a jam session that I was doing, and I played the guitar part to those chords that I just did, the Buckhorn Chords that I had deemed, but they, these. And made it a big long thing, a very not an improv recording, but there are times when you, out of nowhere, just mesh ideas that you've had before, or it doesn't matter. Live music is very cool because what you come up with is not the same as what has maybe happened before. Anyway, I sent this recording to my dad of a jam session that I had, and he told me that he doesn't think he would have made it if I didn't send him what I did exactly when I did. That he was having a particularly bad experience, bad day with what was going on in the hospital, and he said he listened to it just on repeat over and over, lying on his stomach in the hospital bed, and that recording became incredibly important. It already was, it's the Buckhorn Chords that I wrote out at the homestead while the whole family was there, and I remember Paul saying, "Those are some funky chords I heard you playing in there." That wasn't necessarily to that. That's because I was doing other stuff. But yeah, my dad said it saved his life. I mean, there's no way to know for sure, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He was trying to get Paul to be able to listen to them, to be able to listen to the recording, and I sent it to him as well, and I don't think he ever heard it. This was sent it to him before the intubation happened. Eventually, I had to go back home. I think it had been over a week that I was there. I don't really remember. Went back home, and at this time we were pretty hopeful about Paul, and it seemed like he's gonna get out. It's gonna be a long time, and I can't stay. I'm not gonna stay in Texas that whole time. I can't do that. And so I came home, and shortly after, I one morning I was sleeping in my van again, working 40 hours a week, 40 plus hours a week, sleeping in my van on the side of the road, and I woke up to phone calls from my family. Haven't even given this backstory. The van, the van's been passed down from my great grandpa, Paul Pillow, who passed away in March. It was his, then it was eventually my grandpa's, and then worked its way down to me. And yeah, so I wake up. It's like 100 and something degrees. It was really hot this August, and I get the news that that my grandpa had passed, and I was sitting in the van that he had given me. Literally, I without the help that he had given me, I would have been homeless. I was houseless, but I wasn't homeless. It's always felt like, I don't know, that van's always been very sentimental to me. There's always been a part of my family in there. I remember seeing it when I was a kid. They've always had vans going on rides across Texas, going to different church groups or whatever. And yeah, that I immediately I went to the west side to visit my family, and then flew out down to Texas again, and and buried my grandpa. The day of his funeral, we were in the church, and my family, the rest of everybody who was coming to the funeral was out in a little cafeteria area eating beforehand, and I was in there with my dad and his, and I decided to play the piano that was there. Because Papa never got to hear what I had made with the chords that I wrote at his place. And I started playing and doing my thing, and the piano sounded great. And my dad, I didn't know this, but he had started recording. And so he's got that one recorded, but then I was asked if I wanted to play that at the service. And I did. I did. But that second time around, it didn't feel like the real one, The first one is the one that was really just for his ears. And yeah, I think I'll play that. This won't be a full thing. It's not the final idea, but This is more or less what I played. So yeah, I performed that for the people that were there, but that didn't matter. I guess it didn't. That one didn't feel like it was the important one. And I know I messed up, and I know I'm overthinking whenever there's an audience, or even the thought. Like, if I had known that my dad was recording that first one, I know that I would have messed up. That's just how that is. You overthink it. But I don't know. That was really important to me. And I hope that he liked it. So, September comes, and I am no longer living in my van. I'm back home in Washington. I'm, working 40 hours a week still, and I was moving. I moved into this house. Moved into this room here. This was, of course, a huge weight off my back. I now have a bathroom, and that's great. I got a kitchen. I can do my laundry. When I was living in the van, when I was working, and keep in mind this is 100-degree weather, 100 plus. My manager had offered. She was letting me take showers at her house, so I went to her place a couple times. Just took a shower before work. That, I'm very grateful. Wow. I bet, she was probably tired of me stinking too. That was probably a benefiting factor for her. But yeah, so I was in the van from May 6th to September 1st, minus the time that I was back and forth between Texas. I was really struggling to find the motivation to go back to school. I didn't feel that it was important at the time. I felt like what I needed to do was just make music and expand on ideas that I already had, and I was not in the space to just sign up to waste more money and fail more classes. But yeah, I had planned on just putting something out. During this time, I was recording a lot though, just with GarageBand. I mean, this whole last year was really just getting better at that. Using a MIDI and being able to plug that stuff in. I got a Scarlett now, so I can record guitar and bass, and that was all with GarageBand. So I was getting better at that. Now I have Logic. I at least have a base level knowledge of what I'm doing, but it's really complicated. But ultimately, just I didn't put something out, which comes down to probably just me being lazy, me having ideas that I don't pursue. That's a theme here. Yeah. So November, I turned 23. And I remember the day before my birthday, I thought about recording basically this video. Never did it, obviously. Turned 23, and that's an interesting one because it's not. 23 didn't feel like it mattered. 22 didn't really feel like it mattered. I turned 21, the November before COVID hit. So I went to the bar a couple times. Didn't think about the fact that it wouldn't even be an option soon. But wow, I started this when I was 21. So I was still just working a lot, working 40 hours a week. It's been nice actually working a lot. I really enjoy it. I feel like responsibility can help a person gain confidence in ways that they don't even see. But at work, I am making decisions. I'm in charge sometimes. I am someone that other people look to for answers, and I like that. I like being appreciated by my work too. I feel like I have been. they were great with the whole me going home twice, because I actually got sick pay because I was taking care of sick family. So that was a blessing. That was great. But December, I would say, was rejuvenating. That's what I have written down here. I went back to the west side and visited family over there. Things were good. It's a very recharging thing to see your family, and they love you in ways that you would not believe. Even if it doesn't really feel that great, sometimes there are people who really care about you. And it was great, especially because this was one of the first times that I've been able to be around this family and play music for them that I've come up with, play these ideas that I have not fully fleshed out, but have worked on this year, and people seem to respond well to whatever I'm doing. So that feels good. That was just amazing. It was great to be with my family. I wish that I would engage with them more, but it's good. It's good. So New Year's came around. I was gonna film that day too, because like I was doing nothing here, and I worked the next morning, and nobody was like, I was alone New Year's Eve. I almost recorded a video, but I did not. Again, because I'm lazy and don't pursue my ideas. And yeah, but that day I started kind of working on getting my stream set up, trying to do that more, and just to hop on there. Today, again, Friday, January 7th, it was a snow day. Didn't have school today, cause yeah, it would have been the first Friday of the school of the quarter, but didn't have school. So I stayed at home. Yeah. And I got a huge monitor. Just smacked the mic. That monitor chilling right there. It's just my TV. It's just my TV sitting on my desk, and it's great. It's huge. So all day I've been like streaming Smash Bros today because I got a capture card and I can do that. Like, why not? I got one viewer. Awesome, super cool. Thanks for watching that, dude. I'm just trying to do more stuff. I've always had these ideas for. I mean, say like this right here, PillowTalk. I thought about doing the Bandwagon podcast. I've got another video on this channel where I believe titled it Bandwagon, but that was going to be music related or just music made out of the van, Bandwagon, which I still think is a great idea. Today, so it was pretty good. And then I'm on Twitter, okay, and I see a tweet by Mr. Nick is Not Green. Great guy. I mean, I don't know him personally, but great videos. Good stuff. Very dedicated to what he's doing. The dude puts out content constantly. And I guess that's the way you got to do it. But he commented on some guy's tweet. The guy, Twitter handle, Dilo Pillow. I was like, oh, interesting. Pillow. Don't see that a lot, and so I decided to click through. And see, he's a YouTuber. Actually, that's pretty cool. He's also on Twitch, and he talks about music, does gaming stuff. Dude's got a podcast. PillowTalk podcast. Devastated. Day ruined. Was having such a good time. Found out a dude freaking stole my idea. It's a pretty straightforward idea. If your name's Pillow and you like talking, chances are PillowTalk podcast has crossed your mind. I feel like that makes sense. But I'm just pissed that I didn't do that first, and that's fine. Because this is PillowTalk with Collin Pillow, not the PillowTalk podcast. This is totally different. That other one doesn't have Collin Pillow. This is PillowTalk with Collin Pillow. So suddenly I had motivation. I was like, what? Pillow? That's crazy. Honestly, it's crazy that there's another dude, last name Pillow, trying to do the same exact thing. On Twitter, actually, I think there's 3 Collin Pillows. There's me. There's one that he hasn't posted since 2013, and it's all really sad stuff. I think he misses his girlfriend or missed his I don't know, whatever. The other dude, there's a Collin Pillow who works at Arkansas University or something like that. He's a freaking announcer. Pretty cool. Collin Pillow. That's my name. That's great. And my family came originally from Arkansas, so I know that there's I believe there's just a bunch of people named Pillow over there. Pretty cool. So yeah, so all of a sudden I got motivation, and I decided. I mean, this was hours ago, and I decided to learn how to record videos. I mean, it wasn't hard. I was already doing OBS stuff. It's just basically press the button to hit record on OBS. But yeah, suddenly, all the reason in the world to do things that I wanted to do anyway. Um, just had to get motivated. Just had to do it. You know, it wasn't that hard. Just gotta do what you want to do. Um, yeah, and that's kind of what I wanted to say today. I guess I've got two things. One, love your family. Um, don't just like tell them that you love them, but like spend time with them. Go talk to your grandma. Go have a conversation. Um, Maybe not in person right now if that's not something you want to do, but just love your family. And two is pursue your ideas. Because if you don't, someone else will pursue your ideas. I guess that's what I got. Yep. Goodbye.